And streaming. I just want to make sure that it's actually recording before we start.
We all know that we all know the song. We all know the song to use if things go horribly wrong.
Yes. Anyway, we are live, so we don't want to forget that. That very key, very no needed thing. I don't know what I'm getting at, but yeah, we're live on YouTube. We're back. It's the ALR race weekend. What more could you need? We're racing in Canada for the first time. And just if you thought that was enough, it's a sprint weekend. Double the amount of action.
Not.
There's not. There's like an added 10 laps between the two. So whatever. More racing for your buck. We like it.
We do actually have a decent amount of drivers this time.
Yeah, so you've actually got 14 people to choose from. And again, I need to reiterate this. Weather is not down to me for once. So which is how I think it should be, in my opinion. But hey-ho, anyway. We're just waiting for the first driver to come out. As we can see, a few people have ALR in their name. But yeah. From the word in my ear, we've got dynamic weather on, and it's decided it's going full wet for qualifying. And the sprint.
Oh, no.
So...
Oh, no.
I don't know what we're going to get here today. But... this is going to be mayhem.
Mayhem and chaos.
Exactly.
Everyone,
Joe, Scythe,
how
some of the
complaining in the
McLarens
chat?
coming out. I'm not going to be able to spectate everyone because of limited restrictions on who I can spectate, but someone has inverted colours on, which is a unique glitch I've not seen before. Anyway.
Already out of the pit are James, Blazing, Gaggles, Joe, Siphoned,
yeah. Garfield, we've got a new driver joining us from Northern Ireland, Mr. Danny, who is the second driver for Sauber here today. So, welcome, Northern Irish bud, to ALR. Welcome to your first race.
Do we have something easier to call the other Red Bull?
The V carb is Garfield. No, the Red Bull is
okay, Garfield.
Garfield is
yeah.
So Garfield there. For some reason, everyone is slightly lagging, slightly net coding as they get close to the camera. Hope this won't stick around, or we'll have to rejoin, and that will be quite a dampener on our spirits. But by the look of it, the rain is forecast for later in the session. So the laps that count are the ones that happen now. So we got Joe F1 guy, the man who will be setting the first benchmark. Don't think it will be the fastest time, but
Scythe has left the session.
Scythe is having connection issues. We're fully aware of this. He should be okay.
I swear to God, he's alert.
I don't know. Anyway, one or two people have put in predictions so far.
He's allergic to staying in the game.
Exactly. I've been told a prediction of James on pole with Polius P2 and Kev P3. I think that's a pretty solid prediction there, especially for this sprint race. What about you? What's your prediction for this race, Imperial?
You may notice.
You're having a scran or something. Aren't
Mine.
You? Yeah. What's your?
I think. Yeah, sorry. My food's in. So.
Anyway, we'll come back in a moment. But Joe crosses the line with a 110 exact. Wow.
No,
that's a very decent charisma lap.
And
James goes 2 seconds
James
faster.
sets a 1.
My goodness me. He pushes the limit even further.
I mean,
Kev,
if you would ask me my prediction.
Yeah, right. Your prediction.
I would say James Tame.
Tame up there.
Yeah. James. Yeah, no, Tame definitely had the pace in the last race.
He did.
He lost out by less than 1/10 of a second.
So having to,
so yeah, James Tame.
Yeah.
I would say probably Polius and Kev.
You may see Thermiter jumping around a few teams. That's just because he feels like it. We're allowing him to. We're sometimes short on numbers, and a few teams would like a secondary driver, so Thermite is fulfilling that role instead of driving for his own team and giving him points.
Oh, big spin!
Quick spin from who?
It looked like that was going to be a bigger spin from Thermite there. It just looked like his back went out, but he managed to recover it.
Nah, that wasn't a spin. There was a yellow in the hairpin, so I thought someone had gone off there. 4 people to set up.
Yeah, it was a spin, but he managed to recover it.
Yeah, don't call that a spin. 2 people yet to set a lap. One of them will be rejoining the session at a later point due to disconnections. So we can invalidate.
I think Thermite might have invalidated his lap because he's just cut across the.
He's given up.
He's just cut off.
He's given out of this lap, but of course everyone's going to try and stay out as long as possible, bar the 2 Aston Eclipse cars, which could be a bold strategy. If I were them, I'd put on a set of mediums, wear them down a bit, or stay on a set of softs for a few laps. Thermiter comes in.
Indeed. Yeah, no, I've just double-checked. Thermite did invalidate his lap with that spin.
Out of nowhere, Obek's gone up to P4 with his lap. He's the 4th driver to get into the sub-110s. So he's a yellow in the hairpin. I think that's just for a Sauber letting people through. And the Irishman, who is a 3/10 off last season's champion. So
I feel like having set their initial lap time, I feel like Polius and Kev are waiting for the rain to come down before they
just set a 109.1, just over 2/10 behind Quinn, which has come out of nowhere, if I do say so. It didn't have really any indication that he was going to improve by that much on his lap. So far, he could be on a good position. I think people are coming out again, trying to risk a secondary run on the wets, as we see, I believe. That was Lando there having a huge moment almost into the wall in the Williams just at the back of the shot here. We watched Tame on his lap, but yeah, believe that was Lando getting very close to the wall. Tame backs out, I think, because he's pitting. Joe as well, I believe, is coming into the pit lane, but the people we want to watch, or the person we want to be watching, is Mr. Polius, the man who is in a position to relatively easily take a really tight grip on the lead of the championship. Can all go wrong today. There's still 174 points left for the title, as we don't count sprint race fastest laps. So there's a total amount of points they can gain here of 36, I think it is. Yeah, 36 points.
Basically, it's around about that.
Yeah. Anyway, do you think Polius could come away from this race with a, would that be 8-9 point bigger gap than last weekend?
He could.
I mean,
he could. He managed to edge out the win for the last for last race. I think he could do it for this race, especially with Kev backing him up.
Yeah, because that co-driver who may be starting ahead of him could pay dividend later in the race. Especially if Gagos can't get above a 111, because so far that would make him start in P11 for the sprint race. And I doubt to think what could happen in the sprint, because as we know in the past, we've seen big crashes happen in the sprint. But the man we want to focus on is Polius, who's currently 1/10 up on his lap, which could well put him ahead of his teammate, who's also on a lap. I think he's about to finish a lap even, so we could be paying attention to the timing board for that. But the man we're watching is trying to improve. His teammate does improve just, I think, half a tenth now off Joe, who has P2 well in his grasp. Could we see Polius set an even more blazing time than Kev blazing? I've waited a long time to say that. I want to admit that now. I've waited a very long time to say that. But
you waiting for your chance.
Polius to the line improves, but not enough to get past his teammate. So maybe my pun was too bad for him. So my apologies there.
Commentator's curse strikes again.
Exactly. Except this time it's the commentator's pun, which did really fall on foul ears.
Speaking of curses, we have the Wall of Champions on this track.
Yes, we do, and we only have one champion on the grid. As Quinn improves even more, my goodness me. We'd also like to
By much, it was about half
As
of
Polius
the.
retires.
Oh,
Look, it is
Polius,
starting to drizzle. He's not crashed. He's chosen to opt out the session on track. Same with, I think Scyther's left, retired because issues. Same with Kev. He's also chosen to retire from the session, which could be crucial.
I've had a technical issue.
Yeah, I'm aware Scythe had a technical issue. I thought that was the case. I'd also quickly like to welcome those viewers on YouTube, the 4 of you who are watching us here today for the inaugural Canadian Grand Prix. Anyway, we have Obek here. We catch him cutting the track and just skimming the barrier. My goodness me. He really is wringing everything out of that Sauber today. And I believe we have a stopped Dottie. No,
Ryan has.
Ryan
Died.
P11 for the sprint race is not where you want to be starting, if I'm 100% real.
He has retired. I feel like a lot of them are retiring before the rain comes down. I don't think they want to try and stand up in the rain.
Crucial.
Obek just swinging the back
Fully aware.
of his car down the main straight.
Yeah, we had a great view of that. He's going to be the man on a push lap, I believe, next. But I think we're going to watch our newest Irishman for a hot lap here. This race is in Sauber.
The one you threatened, Michael. The one you said wasn't truly Irish.
It's nothing. Just a bit of banter between a few friends. Anyway, we start we start a lap of this beautiful Canadian Grand Prix circuit. Been on the calendar for quite a few seasons as the rain is starting to come down.
Obek is into the barrier.
I expected that to happen. Anyway, through we go, through the chicanes at the back of the track. For a track that's been on the calendar since the 70s, it has surprisingly not a lot of named corners, which I'm surprised at looking at the track map now. Anyway, down
The one thing it does have a name for is the Wall of Champions,
which was because of I think the 1997 or 8 race, I believe. Anyway, down towards the hairpin we go. It's French. I'm not going to butcher that for you today. For our Northern Irish friend here, down the Casino Straight.
Aim retired.
Towards the infamous Wall of Champions here. Now, could we see a mistake from this man that leads to a future championship? I have no clue. He decides to back out. It's too wet for him. Quinn's out. Everyone's retiring. It is too wet for them.
They don't want to try and set a time in the wet.
Nobody wants to set a time in the wet here today. Thermiter and Lando are the only 2 drivers on track. I do believe that's Lando. Correct me if I am wrong. But, yeah, nobody wants to settle up in this qualifying session. So, what a bizarre set of circumstances. Yeah.
The joys of dynamic weather.
Exactly. The joys of dynamic.
We've lost the American.
Yeah, he took a willing retirement, I think, there.
He left the session.
Oh, if he's we will give him an invite when he kindly requests one. Thermiter and Lando are the only 2 people trying to set a lap. Lando comes in after scrubbing in a set of mediums. How about Thermiter? He's also on a push lap. I don't think he will improve due to the fact that the rain is coming down quite fast. He too opts for the pit lane, and I think that's qualifying over. So, yeah.
James on the radio begging the last 3 to retire.
Speaking of, one of the Irishmen starting 9th. Retires.
An interesting grid.
Yeah.
Definitely enforced by the wet weather.
I think Joe really threw a spanner in the works there and completely annihilated one of our first guesses. So we're just waiting on Thermiter and Lando.
I think without the weather, the grid would look very different.
Oh, completely. We're just waiting for the man in 10th. If he chooses to retire, We've got 3 minutes left. And
He
he's
could
choosing to
fight
go out on
everyone.
track. So I think we're going to be stuck with a one man doing a lap on inters, much to the displeasement of the entire server. I think he's got notifications off, which could be a smart idea if I was racing. Well, let's see. If he can cook on a lap, then we'll let him stay. If not, then I don't know.
He needs to go about.
He needs to
2/10
somehow
faster.
gain about a second, really.
About 2/10.
Now, a second would put him, what, 6th? 5th?
Yeah, I'm just saying, if he wants to move into 9th, he only needs 2/10.
Yeah, but I feel he wants to be a bit higher, so I'm giving him a high ball of 5th. Which he somehow needs to find a second in the rain. Canada Incident 2.0, someone has just DM'd me. It's just been posted in the server. We could get that today. I really hope we don't for the viewers at home, so we don't have to have a restart, because that would probably validate the first ever red flag in ALR that is induced by the game, not by outside causes such as game crashes, people being stupid, or any other reason that could possibly want to restart.
It's going to happen at some point. It's going to happen.
Only one restart this season, which I think is an absolute brilliant thing to say, given the fact the restart was for the game having a seizure on us, not one of our drivers having a moment with us. So that's, I think, brilliant. Wait, as he's at the wall! He loses his wing, and I think that pays dividends. He chooses to retire because of that. The embarrassment got to him. He chooses to back out of it before it's too late. Except it was already too late because he found the wall anyway. So
Never seen that line before. Might be onto something.
as we can see, everyone's friends here. After the weirdest qualifying we've ever had here, we have your grid with Joe starting in second. So
I'm gonna make it, I didn't expect people to just retire instead of just dealing with the rain.
Yeah, I mean, if it was at the start of the session, then I'd have stuck around for it, you know? But I think it's because it was raining at the end that everyone thought we're not going to improve, we might as well end it, so...
Well, that is true, because you don't have DRS, and the track cans while wet are slower.
Yeah. Anyway, it's full wet conditions for the inaugural Canadian Grand Prix sprint race.
Heavy wet as well.
Heavy, I think this is full wet. 18 laps ahead of us for this Canadian Grand Prix here today.
Isn't this a sprint?
Yeah, for the Canadian sprint. 18 laps for the sprint, my bad. It's... I can't say my quote because it's a Sunday, not a Monday. You get the point. You get what I was going to say if you're a long-time viewer of the...
It's been a very long week, and it's Sunday.
Anyway, the lights are on. It's the Canadian sprint race. They are waiting, and we are go, 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 go for the first time in Canada.
Line.
Quinn
As Tame
has a very
immediately
decent
gains the
start,
position
but
on
Joe
Dottie.
takes the lead into turn 1, and he gets overtaken
We're
by
seeing
Quinn.
a lot of chaos. People are forced off the
Tame
track. Someone
is
has spun around.
Tame is round. Some other people get penalties for corner cutting. Our Irishman has had an incident in the middle of the field. And there's a spin from Dottie, just saves it. Somehow, we're all still in this race, which I find an absolute miracle. Gaggles.
I will.
Go on.
I will say the top 4 have resettled back into what they were initially.
Yes, they have, but Lando runs off the track. Sorry to interrupt, but Lando running off the track there at a pivotal moment in this race at the start. But what is pivotal is the championship leader is in 4th and his championship rival is in 1st. So, as that happens, we're watching the fight towards the back, into the hairpin. We have a dive bomb from the Irishman. He tries to get 2 places at once.
There's contact.
There is contact, definitely, but he makes it through on the 2 around him. What an overtake that was. As we can see, 2-stop could be possible if there is any form of interruption for those who'd like a new set of tyres. We keep watching the Irishman as he gets dive bombed into the chicane and he gets overtaken by 2. but that's, I think, Ryan Armstrong tapping the barrier in the Wall of Champions. We're going to tap over.
Scythe and Kai's cars are... I'm just going to call them Kai.
Okay.
Like, phased into each other.
Yeah, they are trading positions. Tame having a dreadful start, being spun at the start.
I don't think he's even in the back in the race. I think that's just an AI car.
Yeah, if it is, he's got a very good place. I would say very good place. For now, but as we see, the championship leader is stuck behind his teammate in the wet. As we know, not really that easy to overtake in Canada. It's one of the harder tracks to overtake on. It is very much possible around a lot of the corners on this track. I should know. I love this track. I play it quite a bit. I tend to have my best races here. But
I don't have Scythe. I don't invite Scythe. I don't have him.
Yeah. Moves throughout the field.
He wants me to invite him. I can't invite him. I don't have him.
I'm trying to focus on this fight because the fight for the championship really is on, and it can sway. Because I think the gap would start closing up ever so slightly if Quinn were to win like this, if this were to happen. Because he's improving again, and everyone improves on that lap, really. As Thermite, I believe, has had a moment there. He's lost 2 places. He's in a 3-way fight with Gaggles and Dotty. We've not seen that at the front yet. We'll tab back to the front at some point soon. But we have an absolute war going on here for track position. Jostling.
Trust me, there's nothing interesting happening at the front.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll tab onto it if something does happen. But, oh, Gaggles goes off the track. And I believe that
is a rogue Gaggles.
Yeah. Luckily, he didn't rejoin into the path of anyone. Very reminiscent of the Real Life 24 Canadian Grand Prix. With how much rain there is, luckily nobody is on any slick tyres like the Ferrari strategist. Tame has managed to work his way back up into P10. The top 10 will get points as Thermite misses the chicane. Takes to the escape
Doesn't gain a penalty.
No, he doesn't, because he manages to give it back. No penalties given either. All penalties applied for the sprint because this will determine the race grid. So you need to try and work up any places you can if you have one. Those who do, Lando and the Irishman of Daniel, need to try and work their way up the field, although I think Daniel would stay in 12th regardless.
The top four have sort of gone off into the distance now.
I'm fully aware. Gaggles defending as Thermite gets a penalty for multiple warnings. So he will be another one caught out by the penalties. So...
Indeed.
My days, this is a very thrilling Canadian Grand Prix sprint. What a great one for the first one. Obeck gets overtaken by Dotty. So I think Obeck is slow. Yes, he is. He's very slow. As we see Thermite going for a evasive action, dives to the inside and gets inside Obeck, passes him, and makes an absolutely amazing overtake. And in fact, Obeck's been overtaken again by Gaggles and by Lando, so he loses 3 places in a lap. Last season's champion, Tame Super Jazz, is right behind this car, who's really struggling in the wet. This is an amazing race so far. Stick around because we have the feature to come along just afterwards. So, as it stands, the championship would start to lean back towards Mr. Quinn. He had a few moments in Baku, which I think cost him a few good points paying positions there, but he's back on his game this weekend and he's set to look good as Gaggles tries to overtake Lando. Lando's still on his inside. He goes side by side towards the Wall of Champions. Lando just has to give up the position through the chicane. Obeck falls down to 11th. He was overtaken by Tame, and now he's been overtaken by Ryan as there's contact between Lando and Gaggles. Obeck is falling to the rear of the field. I believe he has some form of issue. The fight on your screen, though, is continuing. It could go to the damage, whatever, limitation. I forgot the word for it. But Tame Super Jazz, last season's champion, the man who has the most points ever in ALR history, is right on his tail. the man, I believe, who still has the record for the most podiums. I will need to check that on my very big book of records as Lando goes to the inside, taps Gaggles, and Lando loses the rear, and he loses a position to Tame and possibly to Mr. Armstrong. Armstrong is there, he gets through. So Lando loses 2 places. And I believe at this moment in time, if Polius were to finish 4th or lower, or 4th or higher, he will be the 2nd ever driver to break the 300 points mark. Speaking of Mr. Polius, he's worked his way through his teammate and through Joe. He's now right on the diffuser of Mr. Quinn to go on board with the man who is highly likely to win this season's title. He's currently leading by a whopping 43 points. It would go to 42 if Quinn were to win this sprint race. In the main race, it could drop down by 7 or 8 points if Quinn were to win with fastest lap. But we're going to stay on this possible battle for the lead. Everyone in the top 4 is separated by 2 seconds pretty much. Polius, the man with the most wins in main races. Man with the most poles. Not podiums though, that's Tame. He has the 2nd most podiums. One of the most decorated drivers in the entire league's history. And he's trying to get another sprint race win here today. Going off his statistics, he's gained not very many positions from where he starts. That is down to the merit of him starting quite high in his positioning. Quinn is always known for an overtake or 2. As Thermite has come into the pit lane, I fear that could be for damage. It isn't, it's just for a set of inters. That could be crucial. Thermiter in for inters. Polius has the 2nd most amount of points per race ever. He has the 3rd most races entered, tied with quite a few other people. He has an absolutely amazing racing records. And quickly over to you, Imperial. I need to quickly speak to someone off mic.
Hello? Hello, hello? Is this working? Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Sorry, I had to respond to something. Polius has taken the lead. Sorry for having to go there for a second,
Right.
but
I've been dealing with
it's fine. Don't worry. I had to tab off for a second. Someone sent me something.
Polius is up in front, followed
Yeah.
by James, and then
Dottie takes the
Joe.
fastest lap, but while you were gone, Thermite have pitted for a set of intermediates. So we could see if that paid dividend.
Interesting choice. Interesting.
All sorts of overtakes taking place all over this track. There's a battle down in P7. As we tab onto it, there's 3 cars line astern from each other. Would you like to cover the commentary for this?
They were basically. I was already on them. They were side by side, going through the corner.
This piece of commentary.
Oh well. I mean, Gaggles is down now into 8th, behind Tame as Max is sort of making a bit of headway and getting away from the 2 of them. I don't know if I don't think Gaggles is exactly in a place to be overtaking anytime soon, especially since Tame is also, I think, making a little bit of ground away from him.
Well and truly, we just got the helicopter shots from that fight with Gaggles just slipping out a clutch. Thermiter has made a move.
Oh.
And Polius is in! Polius comes into the pit lane. This could be huge. His teammate comes in as well.
Polius into the pit.
The top 2, 2 of the top 4 are in the pit lane. It's a clean stop. The Alpine in as well. Dottie, they're all in. I think the switchover is now. Has Quinn possibly thrown away this race win? Gaggles is also in. Thermite is going to gain quite a few positions from this.
I will note everyone who is pitted is onto the index.
Whoa! We've got off! Sorry, that Tame and Lando came together in turn 1, forced each other off the track. They tripped over each other. Dottie tries around the outside of Tame and gets forced off the track. Just giving out. I think he knew it was a bit of an ambitious overtake. And because he didn't have priority because he was coming out the pit lane, I think he knew he had to back off. Quite unfortunate.
Are Joe and James gonna pit this lap, or are they gonna wait?
I don't know what could be happening down with them.
Because I will argue if James pits now, he will minimize the worst of the damage by not hitting.
He's in. James
behind
comes in,
Polius.
and so does Joe. They both come in. I'm trying to watch to see if we're going to get the other Williams.
Joe doesn't go in. Joe's staying
I
out.
thought he came in. Sorry, my bad. So Joe inherits
Joe's staying out on the wets.
Our third race leader of the session. And is it going to be an overtake for the lead? Yes, it is. Polius regains the lead as Tame gets a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's his race weekend sealed at this point in time. He's doomed to fate. Blazing Kev is on a charge towards Mr. Quinn. Quinn, who is in third, who's gone ragged around the chicane.
Joe slid a little bit into the wall there, just a tad. Didn't lose anything, but did sort of tap the wall with his tire.
I think his tires could be starting to die out. I think Quinn has tried the overcut to get the newer tires. The Irishman into the pits. Quite a few people are out of position completely from where they should be. You know, I expected a few people to be higher up the order and a few people a bit lower, but yeah, at this moment, it's a weird old race. It really is a weird old race.
Spike is deciding to retire because of the fact that he keeps having technical issues and no one's inviting him. Joe deciding not to pit again.
That could be crucial. I will invite him now because I thought someone would have at this point invited him, but always falls on to me.
I would invite him, but I don't have him.
Yeah, that's the issue. Joe, yeah, we're watching him now as Polius sets the fastest lap. A 1:20.
Not surprising.
Dottie gets a penalty for corner cutting there. I think we are going to see the man we're on board with pit very soon. But we have a fight for P7 involving the three that were involved the previous lap for a similar position. And the three legacy teams of F1, Williams, McLaren and Ferrari, are all fighting each other here for grid position. Surprisingly.
Ooh.
Go on.
Joe going through into the chicane before the big old loop. Basically slid the car sideways almost.
You don't really want to do that too much, especially on all one set of tyres, because that can spell the end of
Yeah,
the race.
I am. Cypher said that there's no point. He's just going to race next weekend.
Oh, and Ryan's out. Ryan has crashed. And it's a virtual safety car. He's off.
That is perfect for Joe. That is perfect.
He's off, and it's a red flag. The first in-race red flag.
The first red flag of the season.
What on earth has happened there?
Joe has, in fact, scammed that.
I think what happened is Ryan crashed in a part of the track that blocked the track. So his sprint race is over. That's what we call severe luck.
Oh, well, I mean, lucky for Joe.
For some, yeah.
Extremely lucky for Joe.
Anyway, for the second time in this sprint race, the 5 lights are on. For the final time, I hope, for this sprint, and we are go, 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 go. The whole field.
We have 5 laps left.
5 laps to go. Joe takes over storming leaders. Dottie goes up into P2. Dottie as well, a monopolizer off of this. The championship pair are jostled slightly lower. James is going to try and move.
Both Polius and Blaze into 4th and 5th.
Gaggles
as
dropped
Blaze,
to the end. And the whole field is cut in half by a mistake from someone there. We see Thermiter versus Tame, two of last season's protagonists, as Quinn gets up into P2. His aim is to try and get ahead. Dottie's had a moment there. He's fallen quite a few places down the order. So much is happening. Everybody clattering the sausage curb on the inside there. Polius is trying his damnedest to get ahead of those around him, including his teammate. Another penalty for Lando there. We see Tame dive bombing on the inside of Dottie. I think he's just going to get that overtake to stick. Quite a few other things happening around the field, but for now, Mr. Joe leads the way from as Polius gets a penalty. This could be crucial.
Considering the time differences between everyone right now, if things stay the way they are, Polius is going to drop down at least 2-3 positions.
I think it will just be one, because the gap, I think, is just over 3 seconds before the Obek, who's in 8th. But he would definitely lose out on a few crucial points in this championship race. And, of course, he'd lose out on grid positions as well. So...
Exactly.
Really unfortunate.
Polius now has to do his best to minimize any time between him and Kev.
Yeah, he needs. If anything, Kev needs to let him through, or Kev needs to defend behind for this to really pay off. So will be looked at after Ryan. Anyway, Mr. Quinn is trying to hunt a sprint race win here today. And there's a retirement from the Irishman. The Irishman in 11th has retired from the race.
Another red flag.
I hope not. I think he's still going. I don't think it was a crash. Not too sure what has happened there.
Ooh. James just tapping the wall of champions with his tyre.
He's driving like a champion today. That's for sure. That's what I can say about this race. He's got about half a sec. I think that is a second gap behind him. A 2-second gap behind him. So this penalty. Wait, Kev has let his teammate through. I think this is.
Polius is like Kev through, you mean?
Yeah. As Quinn dives to the inside of Joe, they tap wheels, and Quinn gets into the lead of the race.
Away ahead of Joe. Max has another 3 seconds.
I'm pretty sure that's him demoted to the very last position. Polius has been let through by his teammate, I feel. The Irishman having to go, so his first weekend ends in a crash, in a voluntary retirement in the sprint. He's given the place back to Joe, because I think he feels that was a bit too dirty for his type of overtake.
It was.
I wouldn't have minded, because that, in my opinion, was pure racing, but he can do whatever.
That was racing, but it was dirty racing. But
he's giving it back. He's
the fact that he's giving
it
back,
yeah.
That he's square with the house.
Kev also gets a penalty now. So
both captains, both Eclipse drivers have penalties.
Quinn is trying to keep the lead of the race as Joe runs wide, and he's going to lose 2 more positions. Quinn, I believe now, will win the race no matter what.
Astons.
It won't matter
but because of those penalties.
Yeah.
If he can just stay within 3 seconds of Polius, he'll gain them back.
I believe Obek could get up into about 5th or 4th for this race start, which could be something absolutely amazing.
One of 4 drivers without penalties.
One of the drivers using the penalties isn't even fully racing because of connection issues. So we're
that's why I said 4. Actually, the 2 bottom ones aren't driving; those are AI.
No,
so
one of them isn't AI. They're just really off the pace. But
oh wait, is Kai driving?
Yeah, Garfield's driving, I believe. But
oh, Garfield, right?
Don't know why you keep saying Kai. It's really confusing.
I keep saying Kai because I wasn't sure of their name. And I was just like, there's a Kai at the end.
Gaggles versus Lando as Lando loses the rear and goes round. No contact was made, but he ended up with a huge slide on the rear. And I mean huge slide on the rear. That could have been bad for the both of them.
I feel like with the way things are, Polius and Blazing are probably going to move down a position, but only one position,
They
I believe.
will definitely move
Maybe.
down one position. It could even be 2. I think for Kev, it will definitely be 2.
I think for Polius it'll only be
He
1.
will just be able. They both need to push like crazy to get clear.
Yeah, they only have 2 more laps. They need to gain a couple extra seconds.
And speaking of trying
If
to
they
gain a
can.
few extra seconds, Polius, if he does take the lead, will win on track. I think Quinn will be completely fine with that. Because he knows that there's a penalty for those ahead. He just needs to keep it clean for the rest of the race. I think he wants to try one on track, but I'm sure he'll be fine with getting a gifted win due to penalties. Because I know, like hell, I would be as well if I were handed a win because the person ahead of me had a penalty. But, yeah, we're slow through the hairpin as there's a move from Thermiter on Dotty and vice versa. I think they're just enjoying a battle behind. We're focused on the fight for the lead of the sprint and the pole position for the first full Canadian Grand Prix. As
Joe
Joe
has a
now
penalty.
gets a penalty, so Obeck will move up.
So
3
now
places to 5th.
now Polius and Kev don't have to worry about losing time
Yeah.
to Joe.
As Lando gets another
And Max,
penalty.
it's another 3 seconds. That is 9
At this moment in
seconds.
time, I believe that Obeck would start from 5th due to gaps and penalties.
Obeck, one of 3 drivers who are driving who don't have penalties.
I think Polius is just going to have to hand in the towel and say, we're going to stay like this until the end. As I think Ryan here, not Ryan, Joe is trying to get ahead of Kev here.
Joe is pushing up Kev.
Whoa.
It's just a matter of is Joe going to be able to make an overtake during this?
We could see it in the hairpin
during this
here.
corner?
He chooses not to. It could be a last-ditch attempt at the Wall of Champions. To me, the track
A
looks
dangerous
pretty
place to make an
dry now.
overtake.
We've seen it before. You could see it on the straight even. He could get the slipstream from another car. Of course, their perspective looks a lot different to ours. But all the talking for now is going the way of James Quinn, the man in the second in the championship. He will gain an extra point on his championship rival as he wins the sprint race and takes pole from Kev. We're going to have Thermite across the line, but the man we're going to look at is Obeck, who will jump up to 5th.
Penalty.
Because he got a pit. He pitted and didn't serve it properly. So Obeck moves up to 5th in what I believe is one of his best career starts.
No one's penalties are getting removed. Not for the sprint.
Because like 9 of you got penalties and the others didn't.
Clips of Joe moving under braking. Racing standards down the drain.
It's full wet conditions. Calm down, guys. It was just because you guys were able to complete a full wet sprint race. Yeah. So we see it there. Mr. Quinn wins the sprint, wins the pole position. What a lovely...
Yeah, exactly. It's all wet. People are like trying to drive like it's dry. Yeah, that's the issue.
It's not like we knew about this issue before we even had a race here, but you...
Yeah, no, we've known since the beginning, basically the first wet race we've had in this league, that people just don't understand how to drive in wet.
14 people start. Not a lot finish.
Yeah, we're down like 2-3 drivers.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. I was about to say, can we boot out Siphon?
I'm pretty sure his
Okay,
ALR
so
will be
do I.
removed anyway.
Cool. All right. So it's just
We should have... We've somehow now got 11 people. Because I know Scythe left and...
Scythe and Dan left, and I think Garfield is also gone.
Which, if it is Garfield gone, I don't think that will really change anything with anything.
No. So yeah, Scythe, Garfield, and Dan are all gone.
Yeah.
I told you Garfield wasn't. I told you Garfield wasn't driving.
I thought he was. That is my bad.
No, Garfield got kicked, and no one re-invited him. Yeah, can we please have dry so I don't have to deal with them complaining over wets?
Yeah. We will give a small grace period for people to add each other. Cough, cough, please. And
Yeah. Yes. I'm adding everyone who I don't have as an EA friend here as an EA friend. I can't add Scythe because Scythe is no longer here. Okay, I've sent requests to everyone. Obek wasn't AI. What?
Huh?
Thermite is saying that Obek was AI. I don't think Obek was AI.
Obek's in the lobby. He's chill.
Yeah.
Bro.
Obek, you're not meant to be AI.
Yeah, we did say that's banned a few times.
You're allowed to go for AI if you're like running to the toilet or grabbing food or something.
Yeah,
You're not.
He said he was eating.
You can't drive under AI.
Yeah, he said
like
he
for
was eating.
half of the race.
He said he was eating, which he's just done.
Okay.
Keep him here because he's still apparently active, which makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, keep him. Yeah.
I will just wait till we get the confirmation that we're going to start again before I speak again, because there's nothing really to talk about in this period.
First ever ALR red flag, though.
Yeah, that's a big moment.
Yeah. Where are you putting Obek? Just leave him. Well, leave him where he is.
Fifth. Obek would be fifth.
Yeah.
Because he didn't get a penalty. Started fifth in the sprint, finished fifth in the sprint. Yeah, I'm just waiting for confirmation that Thermite has done the lobby, so...
Alright.
I've just been told we're ready, so we can get ready, everyone ready up, and then let's go.
Ready. Steady.
Well, we're going to wait till the go when we go. Anyway, 35% race of Canada. The gap in the championship now down to 42 points. Could be an even bigger sway soon. Full dry for the rest of the race.
A dry race, thank God.
Completely dry as well.
Unironically, I like wet races. You guys can't race in the wet, though, clearly.
People don't like it because you need to change a lot of your driving style, a lot of everything. But we'll get into that at a later point when we eventually start a podcast, because we are having the lights go. We are 5 lights on for the Canadian Grand Prix, and it is go, 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 go! Quinn gets an excellent start, moving to the side of the grid where Mr. Polius is starting, and he takes the lead of a few people jostling positions. Joe gets ahead of Blazing Kev, and Thermiter gets ahead of Obek. So, off the start, we had 3 knot starters, sorry.
Wow. What a start. What a start.
Yeah. Lando gets ahead of Gaggles, who's now fighting with Ryan, who started at the back as Tame tries to fight Obek.
Tame and Obek.
This allows Dottie to get through on Tame. Possibly.
As Gaggles overtakes on Max.
Mr. Lando in the back, at the front of your shot now. Oh, and he's off! He's in the wall.
Oh.
I think he should be able to keep it going. But
yeah, I don't think he's out. No, he's
Tame's backwards.
Most of his way.
Tame ends up backwards out the chicane. That is not what he wanted.
Unfortunate for these drivers. They are not doing.
A lot of them to the front of the grid we go. James has
Gaggles.
Huge lead. Oh, and
Gaggles
the 2
up
Dodgies
into 7.
and the 2 Hewitt cars almost come together. The 2 Hewitt Alpines almost collide. One having to slam the wall to keep out of it.
Kev manages to overtake on Joe through the first corner.
He's happened to be ghosted through turn 1-2, so I think we've had an issue there with him. He's trying to fight Thermiter through the first major chicane on the track. Props to him for that, but it doesn't stick. Lando into the pit lane, I believe, to fix his front wing. DRS is enabled this lap. Here's where it all kicks off. My goodness me, the Alpines are fighting with each other, the Hewitt Alpines. Trying their best to get ahead of one another. I think they're just playing a long game, trying to get through this race. The 25 laps of Canada.
It is. Yeah, we are too early for big moves just yet.
It could pay dividend. It really could. But to the lead, no overtakes as of yet. Speaking of overtakes, we've got Joe trying a move on Thermiter. He gets forced around the outside and has to cut the chicane and almost goes off into the wall. Completely backs out of it.
Oh,
Ryan gets a penalty for corner.
We have a. Yeah, we had a yellow flag along the straight there.
That happen. That was Joe getting completely done over by a bodged overtake, as we see Gaggles defending from the 2 Alpines. One of them sliding on the rear slightly. We continue on.
I'll tell you what, you can definitely see that the 2 Astons are faring far better in the dry than they were in the wet.
Oh, definitely. As we see Dottie to the inside of Gaggles. Doesn't get done, but there's a tap on the side pod. Both Alpines on the hards. So those guys are going long into the race. Gaggles trying to...
James is bleeding a little bit of time.
Yes, he is, as the Alpines get through. One of the Alpines get through on Gaggles. Sorry to interrupt.
Ever so slightly, just with little mistakes, like going over the curb.
Yeah, that can be crucial as the second Alpine tries down the inside of Gaggles. Doesn't pay off. For now, he stays behind. But the DRS is here, and there's going to be a double DRS helping.
Polius has the DRS. He has it going into turn 1. He has the speed.
lead.
Will he be able to stay ahead?
Yes, he will. For this lap, as Dottie gets a warning, a penalty for multiple warnings. Sorry. Obek moves up into 4 in his efforts to try and make this race more eventful with Thermiter, and they touch. As we tab to them, they touch. They came together, and I think Thermiter almost spins. Joe gets a free position because of this.
You know, it's if there's any place that Polius could find time to just pull that, you know, a second ahead of James before the DRS. I know it might be a bit late now actually because they've crossed that first DRS detection point.
And of course, it's a double
Which
DRS.
means that,
Thermiter goes for a dive bomb on
James
Joe. Sorry to interrupt, but we saw it.
Which Polius. No, yeah, Polius is just ceded position, I think, to get DRS on the main straight.
But he can't because there's not a second DRS zone. It's a double DRS zone. If you get DRS on the start, you get DRS for the second. So he's going to have to wait until the second part of this lap. The middle sector is where you get the DRS from.
Weirdly enough, I didn't think that was how that worked.
Nah, it's a weird set of rules. I don't want to get into it now. We'll be here for hours rambling on about the weird rules and regulations of F1. Anyway. There is a whole gaggle of cars, about 4 or 5 cars itself behind these two here.
Oh yeah, yeah. Kev, Polius, and James are like far ahead of everyone else.
Oh, completely. These 3. Obek is just slowly falling into the clutches of the rest of the field. So, I believe we could have a few cars trying to go side by side with each other, but I'm not too sure at this moment in time. Oh, James suffers a bit of lag.
That was a bit of a jitter.
That just lost him 0.4 of a second. That piece of lag. Real time events for you there, chaps. That could be crucial for a certain overtake.
James temporarily desynced with reality.
Yeah, and was the only one to do so.
Polius has the DRS. He's going to have the speed going into the first.
That's all you need, the inside line, and you've got the overtake done. You wouldn't be stupid enough to try and defend there, because that would just end in a huge pile.
Do you think there's any chance of Polius managing to pull ahead of out of DRS range of James?
If we remember desync like that from James, definitely, because yeah. So far, we've had 3 different winners covering 2 teams. Mid-season driver swap means we almost had 3 for 3. With unique winners to teams, but that's not gone the way so far.
Indeed.
3 different teams and 3 different drivers win this season. Of course, Quinn changing from Eclipse to Gaggles Autosport as Gaggles is dropping back down the field. I'm not quite sure what's happened to him. I think he's having a spin or something along those lines. And we tab to the helicopter shot where Thermite is trying on Dottie with a Williams in the mix. Joe gets overtaken by Thermiter. Just manages to get ahead of Dottie.
James may not be my driver anymore, but if he does manage to win, I will be proud of him for it.
Oh, absolutely. But the fight in the background is still well and truly on. So James retakes the lead down the DRS zone, but the fight for 5th really rampant.
Interesting to me that the back 2 are on mediums, the front 2 are on mediums, and everyone else is on hards.
Well, don't forget Lando, Mr. 2009.
Ooh, as we see an overtake heading into Sector 2.
Oh, and
as
could be a DRS-oriented overtake. One is not using DRS, and they run off! They crash! They're both in the wall! I'm not quite sure who's to blame for that.
Like Polius has no damage, but James definitely does.
I think he's missing both end plates. That, to me, looked like a bit of a 50-50 there. But Quinn is down 2
I'm not quite sure what happened there. It kind of looked like they were too close. There was contact made against Polius' back wheel. I know. There was.
Yeah.
It looked like there was contact made with Polius' back wheel, which caused him to veer off in front of James's car.
James is in the pits.
Meaning that it drove them both into the wall.
James is screwed. He's gone into the pit lane. Unfortunately, I feel that could be a very, very pivotal moment for the championship, as there's Thermiter in the wall.
Yeah, I feel like
Thermite going wide
I
of the
feel
wall.
like-
Virtual safety car has been deployed.
That might just minimize some of the damage that James will have suffered.
He's all the way at the back. Oh, he's going to be almost at the full back of the grid. Thermiter there has lost half his wing. I think he collided with the Wall of Champions and just flew across the track and is now missing an entire end plate and beam. So this brilliantly
I'd be
helps
very
Ryan.
interested in seeing. I'd be very interested in seeing the replay from both
Oh,
Polius and James
absolutely.
after the race, though. Because while currently I'm leaning on Racing Incident, just based off of how it looked from my view, I would at least like to see some more additional data, as it were, before coming to consensus.
Completely. I fully agree with that. Quinn, at the moment, down in 9th. He need like a red flag or something along those lines, like a full safety car to really bring him back into the battle. Not to mention tire damage against the wall. Polius could be suffering.
Oh yeah, Polius would have. Yeah, Polius is in to change his tires now. I will say, as the virtual safety car ends,
he's lost it. And so has Thermiter. Thermiter had to come in anyway, but Polius has been somewhat screwed.
Had that virtual safety car remained just for another lap,
They're going to be close
Polius
coming up the pit
is
lane.
now deposited right behind James.
That's not James.
Or Gaggles.
That's Gaggles. This could
Gaggles.
be crucial. Gaggles needs to try and defend this position to help his teammate for the title. So, Gaggles tries it.
Gaggles is glitching really badly.
Gaggles lagged ahead. For me, they just drove into each other. I'm sure that'll be the same on the stream as we are watching the same feed. Gaggles
on
finally
the stream,
gets
yes.
ghosted.
For me, he's just sort of he's like just
He's sort
his
of
like
half
model
there,
is
half
wobbling,
not.
but he's not hitting anything.
Very weird.
Oh, as he teleports
forces-
right behind
He forces Quinn
Polius.
off. And that slightly screwed Quinn over, who gets a penalty because of this.
Because of Gaggles'
I
lag.
don't think I think if we see him do another blatant corner cut, that stays. But on my ruling, that does not look like that should stand. Because that was
doesn't
completely
look
not
like
his
it was
fault.
his fault. That was just because
Anyway,
of the game activity.
At this moment in time, Obek from 5th is running in 2nd. Kev from 3rd up in 1st.
Kev holding the front right now. Our third different race leader
For now.
for now.
Interestingly, I see Quinn has gone onto a set of mediums instead of a set of hards. So could he be trying
Meaning
to get a
Quinn
set of
has to-
softs at the end of the race?
Yeah, Quinn will have to pit again at some point.
As we know, unlimited softs for this part of the session. We don't mind that. We allow...
Actually, no. Quinn's onto hards.
Is he? From the camera
No,
shot,
you're
it
looking
looked
at Gaggles. Gaggles is on
Yeah,
mediums.
that's where I got
Quinn's on hards.
confused. That's what I saw. I got confused by that. My bad. Two similar cars. Tame up into 4th as there's a yellow
As we
flag
have
out
another yellow
for
flag.
Joe, who was round. That helps the two title protagonists greatly.
It does. It doesn't, however, get James within DRS range of Polius.
He really needed that to happen before this this set of corners. But he is gaining time, so I think he is burning a bit of that ERS just to try and get towards his on-track rival.
No, actually. James is... Oh, wait, no, yeah, James is... Sorry, I'm not used to this. Sorry, the
Joe
layout
comes
of
into
the
the pit
dashboard
lane.
is weird.
Yeah. Takes a lot
I thought
of
the
getting used
red
to.
bar on the left was the meter for the ARS.
The yellow
Not.
is- It's weird.
I,
Don't worry about it, we're all confused. Joe comes into the pit lane. I feel like
I will
that is
note,
influenced by that crash.
Polius has barely burned any... Polius's battery at the moment is doing rather well. He's not been...
I think he saved a lot under the VSC to wait for James to approach him to then fight, so
Yeah. James, however, barely has any battery right now.
that could be crucial between these two fighting. So I think when
The
Quinn
battery
gets
is
to
the
the
yellow
back,
bar, yeah?
yeah. But I think
Yeah.
when Quinn gets to the very back of Polius, he's just going to sit there for a while, recharging, and recharging, and recharging.
Yeah, no, Polius looks like he's just hovering around the midpoint. He's burning, I think, he's burning the ERS on the straights.
I think you have to burn a
definitely
bit anyway
burning
on the
the
straights just to give yourself that
extra bit of speed.
Stop that
Yes.
annoying audio message that you get. Oh, he made a mistake! Polius made a mistake and he's ran wide at the Wall of Champions and he's let Quinn through. So
Whoa!
I think he
Uncharacteristic mistake from Polius.
I do believe he just absolutely messed up the exit of the chicane, and that's cost him the position.
He ran wide, nearly hit the wall,
and
then ended up accidentally giving the position to Quinn.
So there goes a second advantage, or half a second advantage that's Polius had on Quinn.
Unfortunate.
However,
Polius is now within DRS range of Quinn, so
it could have been a strategic game even to do that, to make Quinn panic even more. He's got a car behind him full of ERS and DRS that he wants to try and defend from for his championship sakes. So,
the battery is going to be flipped on.
Now, I will anticipate, I think Gaggles has just made a bit of contact there with Thermiter. He is missing an
the
end plate.
battery was on initially, and then he flipped the battery off. I think he realized he wasn't going to be able to make the overtake.
He really is playing a game with Quinn.
Battery flipped on, battery flipped off.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. He's trying to scare him into a mistake. He knows that they both made a bit of a stupid mistake earlier on in the race, and that's cost him dearly.
They're playing psychological warfare with one another.
They really are. And it is an amazing fight to watch. One or two moves happened while this was going on. We just caught the end of a moment between Gaggles and Thermiter. And I think we can just about catch an overtake here from Joe on Ryan Armstrong. Ryan defends that quite well. Again, for the really minor positions. Ryan loses it by spinning up the rears, and he's lost that place for now. Back to the fight at hand. We had DRS for Polius. I think he's choosing not to use it at some of these points, just to give that real psyche advantage. As we know, Quinn is one of the fastest people in qualifying from around this circuit. As the man in last place gets another penalty for corner cutting. I believe he already had one. Correct me if I am wrong.
Who, James?
No, the person in last. But anyway, Dottie pulls into the pit lane. And that helps our Championship 2 slowly make their way up the order.
Yeah, Dottie has to change off of those 12-lap-old hards. He's changing onto the mediums.
That could be crucial. He could have gone out. He could have stayed out for longer, done 10 laps on the mediums rather than 12 or 13 that he is going to be doing now. Tame has reeled his way into this fight. So Quinn is getting DRS this lap around. I wasn't paying proper attention, but now Mr. Quinn has DRS to defend as Thermiter gets a penalty for multiple warnings. Quinn has DRS. I think the move would be now for Polius into the hairpin. I think that would be too obvious, though. I think, again, he's just going to play that waiting game. Tame knows this is the fight for the championship.
He's getting very, very close.
As Blazing comes into the pit lane, Obek might inherit the lead. He comes in as well. Yep. I think Tame will also come in as well. So this could be the fight for the net lead. So yeah, they both overtake. And yeah, Tame is into the pit lane anyway. Yellow flag's out for an Alpine that is spun. We're back going again. But there's the fight for the lead. And I believe Kev is going to come out just at the rear. So,
yeah, James and Polius now back up to where they started. Hopefully this time with no crashing.
Oh, and they tap. Not badly, but there was a very small bit of contact. Front wing to rear tyre just as they go through the chicane. I think I
shouldn't
talk. I think you shouldn't talk about any type of contact anytime soon because it could pay dividend to this championship, mate. Anyway, Obek.
I don't know. Am I willing to gamble on my team?
Yeah. Obek comes out that pit cycle with a P4 in hand as we get a dive bomb with the DRS from Quinn. No, from Polius. Quinn is going to try down the inside,
because he's past the detection point. Because he's past the detection point, he'll have the DRS going through the straight.
Meaning he will have DRS.
He'll have the DRS going through the main straight as well.
That is crucial for now. I think Quinn is just going to save it for a
Battery.
bit.
He's not using. He's activated his battery. He's trying to get as much time between him and James as possible through the straight.
This is really where you need to gain time for the middle
He's
sector.
only gained a couple tenths though.
It's not going to be
James
enough for
is-
now. James will be on an
James has
attack
done
run.
very, very well in keeping up with him.
ALR has had so far one of its best races ever.
So was, but I mean, I don't know. Baku was very, very good. This might shape up to be another
and
Baku.
Polius made a mistake. Quinn is trying to get through on him. I think they're playing DRS chicken now, but this could mean that
Kev
Kev
is also
gets
right
involved.
behind Polius
Yeah.
now. This is a three-way fight.
As James runs slightly wide, I think... I don't know who's got DRS. It was too close to call there, but he could lose the position to Kev. James could lose
We'll
it to
see in a
Kev.
moment whose rear wing opens up then.
And whose doesn't? He's lost the position to Kev. Who has lost the DRS? It was James. The two
It's James
Astons
and
are
Kev. They
ahead.
both have DRS. James does not have DRS.
They pulled that off absolutely brilliantly. But Polius made a mistake. And Kev is in the lead. And Quinn tries to monopolize over this by taking the inside line. This is going to get dicey into turn one. Quinn dives for the move to force...
Polius just manages to keep ahead of James.
But it's not going to be for long. I think Quinn is just going to wait for the DRS helping down here. He's going to stay behind for a bit longer. And I think while all this is happening, Blazing is going to charge into the lead to try and solidify a win for the team. I think how Polius is going to see this is Gaggles gets a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I think how Polius gets to see this, if I can't win this, neither will you. I think that's how he's going to run this.
I think there is a very real chance both Polius and James will basically end up fighting each other for the rest of the race,
And that
so
will
that
leave-
Blazing can win.
Which could be a great thing. As we know, last season Kev had a few wins, as we see a tiny bit more lag there from Quinn through the hairpin. He has... Oh, there's a lot of lag. And he's lost a lot of time from that.
Yeah, he has indeed. He's
Does
actually
get DRS.
2.5. He's 2.5 seconds behind Polius
He
now.
lost about a second and a half from that lag, which is very unfortunate for him, but he did
That
get
is
DRS.
that for Polius. That for Polius is a godsend as of current, because it means he doesn't have to focus on defending and can in fact focus on trying to make up even more time.
Yeah, and as we've just seen, Tame got ahead of Thermiter using that DRS on the
It's
double straight.
open road. It's open road now for both Astons.
Oh, and they're getting closer up further back in the field. I think Polius will just chill. He doesn't need DRS. He knows he's safer now. So he could just wait a bit.
I think he's just within enough that he's going to have the DRS.
I think he knows that unless Quinn somehow gains about a second and a half in 2 laps, he'll be
Well, that's
fine.
the thing. It's only advantageous to try and get the DRS from Kev right now because it puts him further ahead of James.
But by right, I don't think he needs it because I think Kev is just doing normal laps around the track because we're not exactly seeing him
I
set the
don't
timing.
think he needs it, but I think it'll help. It'll help put him more distance between him and James.
One thing I've noticed, Tame is looking up quite a bit through quite a few of the major braking zones on the track.
And you know that DRS has paid dividends because it's put him up an additional
Second,
7-10.
yeah, almost
roughly?
a second. So
Yeah, close to a second on James, just from the DRS. I wonder if that's the strategy going forwards, is for Kev to just drag Paulius further and further away from James using
I
DRS.
think that could be good unless we have a safety car intervention. Because if it were to happen, the optimum thing would to happen now, and everyone comes into the pit lane for a set of softs. But I don't think we'll have that. There is a fight down in ninth between Gaggles and Ryan.
Gaggles is on some softs. Those fresh softs.
Really showing off.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll necessarily make or break the race for him, but they will help definitely to make a few positions up.
As Lando comes into the pit lane.
Also note that James has a penalty. I know we
did mention that.
we
earlier,
are
but
taking that off though, correct?
I believe, unless he does something stupid again, which I've not seen him do. Because it was for multiple warnings, and I think one of them was the contact with Polius at the start of the race, which we've devoted to 50-50 and the other one was running off the track. So
Yeah, it looked from our view. It looked like a
and
racing.
there's a yellow
just a race.
flag for someone.
It's a yellow flag to do with it's a yellow flag to
Lando.
do with trying to get past Max.
Yeah, Lando. We ride on the off-center T-cam on James, as this could be a bit of DRS help that Quinn may have needed. As we come through towards the final sector, is he close enough to the back marker, the lapped car, to gain DRS? I think he's going to do some quali laps here on the hards, is Mr. Quinn. Mr. Quinn? Yeah, Mr. Quinn. To try and close up that gap on the two leaders, the two teammates. Team already having the most 1-2s of any other team, as Ryan comes into the pit lane, so we could get even more lapped car shenanigans coming here soon. He's going to make it out in front of the leaders, or is he going to be behind the lead pack? That we will see here. He's just going to make it out ahead of the leaders, unless he does something stupid, or he has to give the place back. Blue flags and all, they are a thing. 4 seconds now, the gap to Quinn. At the moment, his penalty will not be standing due to FIA vote. Unanimous FIA choice. We continue on.
Yeah, unanimous. It's the two of us.
Yeah, unanimous. That means over 50%. In my books, at least.
No, that's majority. Unanimous would be everyone voting for it.
Yeah, exactly, the two of us. Unanimous.
Oh,
There's only two of us active
okay,
right
that
now.
sounded vaguely threatening, but okay.
Don't worry about it. I think Quinn was really hoping for a safety car at this point in the race. It hasn't come as of yet. The closest set of cars are the two Astons.
Yeah,
Which I think
that
is a
as
great
I
team.
said, that DRS that's just allowing Polius to be dragged behind Kev is. Ooh! Max makes contact with the wall, it looked like.
Gaggles is round and he's lost his wing, and there's a safety car. Gaggles has lost
There's a
it.
safety car.
The top four are too far away. The top three, yeah.
I honestly, I don't think they should pit. I don't think they should pit.
There could be a huge gain to pitting. Those who are pitting now,
I know they're on all the tires. I know they're on all the tires, but it's 3 laps, and the time they're going to lose while pitting is. Like, is it worth? You know, how much time are they going to lose? How many positions are they going to lose? Because there's only 3-4 laps left.
Think about it. Those who
You
are
know, at
pitting
least-
now have what, a 20, 30, yeah, 22-second gap, and the average loss on the safety car at this track, I believe, is about 19, 20 seconds. So at worst, one of them would lose a position to Dottie, and at that it would be Obek who would lose position, because
Yeah. Okay.
Quinn
So
is-
in that case, then they need to pit onto softs immediately.
now, like right now, this very moment needs to be onto the soft. Gaggles spun through the first chicane, I believe it was, and just completely annihilated his wing. So
Yeah, is he's into the pits as both Astons stay out. Neither Aston is pitting.
Quinn is in the pit lane as Obek
He
gets
is
a
in the pit
drive-through
lane.
penalty
Onto the
for
first
speeding.
tires. Ooh, he speeds in the pit lane.
Obek gets a drive-through for speeding under safety car.
Wait, was that? Wait,
Obek.
did James get a penalty or did Obek get
no,
one?
Obek got a penalty.
Ah,
Anyway,
neither Aston has pitted.
and Ryan gets a penalty. So they've lost the golden opportunity. Obek is out of the equation. We can count him out because he needs to serve a drive-through. So the fight is literally between the
I will remind
Astons.
Obek. I will remind Obek, if he is listening, you cannot serve a drive-through under the safety car. The game will
And
not let you.
Gaggles has been black flagged for ignoring yellow flags. He's been disqualified from the
Congratulations,
session.
You are disqualified.
Gaggles becomes one of the first disqualifications in the season as the safety car comes in this lap. What on earth have
It's
we just
apparently
witnessed?
told Gaggles to pass.
Yeah, Gaggles, when it tells you to pass, you don't. The game is a liar.
Yeah. We can
Safety
count
car
out
in this lap.
Obek as he needs to serve a drive-through penalty. I'm pretty sure Obek will let
Yeah. Remember,
him pass.
remember, people, no backs was happening.
Yeah, no side by side. There's a few lapped cars in the mix, which I'm sure will get out the way because they're obligated to, and they will be ghosted, I believe. But they will be ghosted at that.
It's going to be very interesting because
Anyway,
both Polius and Blazing are Polius on 15-lap-old hards.
James on brand new soft. He's fighting with Obek, who has that drive-through. He will need to serve that this lap. So I think if I were him, I'd just play the team game here and let him through. There's no point in trying to fight a position I'm not going to have. That's just what I'd do. But he is fighting it. He is not making it easy for Mr. Quinn, who dives down the inside, trying to get the overtake done. No DRS this lap. And this fight will just ever so slightly help the two ahead get through. At the moment in time, the penalty that Quinn is holding does not stand.
The two lapped cars, though, in front of... Well, one was in front, but he's not anymore.
Yeah, but he's on the back of Polius. As we've determined, due to several silly incidents that have given him a penalty, it will not stand. Quinn, with one final lap with full DRS on, is charging to try and jump the championship leader for points and or positions.
I think he might just manage it.
I think Obek is going to come in on the last lap to try and reduce it. He has the fastest lap, so he will be getting that point for it, taking it from everyone else. The lapped car's really playing dividend. He needs to try and get ahead of two cars in this last lap to really help.
All ahead of James, I will add.
For now, Ryan gets another penalty. We can
Somehow
ignore
still
that.
ahead.
And in the background, Dottie tries to get ahead of Obek. That's not the fight we're intrigued on. DRS should be now. One last lap of racing. It is Polius versus James versus Kev. Kev, I think, might just win this, but we're intrigued with the title battle, which is unfolding behind the current race leader. We could have a fourth different winner.
The DRS, the DRS. Is this contact? Is this James taps his front wheel against the back of Polius?
2 corners to go of this Grand Prix. If there's an overtake, it needs to be now. Quinn is going to burn everything. Polius is going to burn everything. Kev has won the race.
I think the DRS from Kev, Polius is just going to edge out James.
Yeah. To the line it goes. I think it is.
Kev
wins in ALR for the for the third time over 2 seasons. Tame Super Jazz moves up into P4 due to penalties. Ryan DNF'd just before the line. He will be counted. And oh my goodness me. Oh, what happened?
Okay, yeah, no, I want to know why you're upset at Polius. We loved a rigged safety car. I don't know if it was rigged. It was just really unfortunately timed, or fortunately, depending on who you are.
And on that bombshell, Gaggles has announced his immediate retirement from ALR racing.
Or at least for the rest of this season and game, because
anyway,
he's upset.
Your race winner today, Kev, wins a 3rd time in ALR.
Obek wants his drive-thru removed.
Anyway, that was the live stream. You were the viewers. I've been the commentary guy. So has Imperial. We've loved it here today. We really have. We'll see you all next week for